Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session with the announcement docket set at 9 a.m. on today's date of March 30th of 2022. Our next case is cause number 331124. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Merrick Danielle McGowan. Ms. McGowan, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Ms. McGowan, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. McGowan, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Ms. McGowan, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. McGowan?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. McGowan, your attorney of record is attorney Terrence Allison. Attorney Terrence Allison is not here today. However, standing in for attorney Allison is attorney Marivius Allen. Does attorney Allen have your permission to stand in for attorney Allison?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Allen, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. McGowan, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about October 12th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of reckless driving. Ms. McGowan, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to this charge, Ms. McGowan, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Guilty?
Yes, sir.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Ms. McGowan, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. This document is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. I'm gonna have to change that. Okay. Now, Ms. McGowan, this offense is classified as a Class B misdemeanor. However, it's a Class B misdemeanor that has a different punishment range from all other Class B misdemeanors, in that the range of punishment for this Class B misdemeanor is confinement for a term not to exceed 30 days, not 180 days. And it has a fine not to exceed $200, which is not $2,000. So I just initialed where I made those changes. Ms. McGowan, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Ms. McGowan, there's a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, well, the same document, the next page, is a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
The next document is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Ms. McGowan, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you are giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? Ms. McGowan, I also have before me a document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. McGowan, before you sign and initial these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Ms. McGowan, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
We would, Judge, with the caveat that I printed the attachment to that exhibit over in the other court. My computer's not hooked up to your court. So I'll
We-
need to supplement that when I go get it here in a minute.
Okay. You have any objections? Okay. And you have any objections to, will you say you offer State's Exhibit Number 1? That's right. And no objections? No objections. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Attorney Allen, you have advised and counseled Ms. McGowan. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. McGowan, your attorney Allen has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Now, your attorney of record is attorney Terrence Allison. He has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. McGowan, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Judge. 30 days in jail, probated for 1 year, and a $200 fine.
I got to defer it on here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Is it, okay, sorry, 6-month deferred with a fine of $200.
okay. And you have community service of 24 hours?
Yes, sir.
Ms. McGowan, the state is offering that you serve 6 months deferred adjudicated probation. During the 6-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $200 plus court costs of $357. The total fine and court cost is $557. You'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you will reimburse Jefferson County for the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. Now, the total monthly installments, that is, the total amount that you would have to pay each month while you're on probation is $240. Will you be able to pay the $240?
Yes, Your Honor.
You will. And you'll be required to perform 24 hours of community service. And you'll also be required to adhere to the other standard terms of this probation. Ms. McGowan, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Ms. McGowan, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. McGowan, if you successfully complete the probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not appear on your record as a conviction, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney, Mr. Allen, about the non-disclosure. He's quite competent in those matters. Now, Ms. McGowan, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you will be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
And Mr. Allen, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day as well.
Judge, I'm gonna go grab the prints for the next plea too.
That's right.
You won't be able to see it, but I will.
And will you be able to sign on behalf of Mr. Allison? Okay, can I go ahead and get your signature?
Thank you.
And now, Ms. McGowan, one last thing, can I have you raise your right hand? Do you swear that you've never before been given probation or deferred adjudication for a felony or misdemeanor in this or any other state? Okay, and you have no pending charges that you're aware of? All right, so you are gonna report to the adult probation office as soon as you leave here. I highlighted that address for you on that front page. But before you leave your courthouse, you do have a cash bond that is ready to be refunded to you. So if you bring this form or bring both of those forms downstairs to the county clerk's office, and they'll refund that for you. Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, y'all have a blessed day. She has that, discovery certification.
Okay, I have it right here.
Yeah, the page has to be attached to it. You can just hand it to her. Next case is cause number 330970. Case is filed in the state of Texas versus Kevin D. Ross or Kevin DeMond Ross. For your record, for the record, name is Kevin D. Ross or Kevin DeMond Ross. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ross, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Ross, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ross, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Ross?
Good.
That's good, Ms. Ross. Mr. Ross, you're here represented by your attorney, Ms. Lori Perazzo. Ms. Perazzo, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Your Honor. Thank you.
That's good. Mr. Ross, I have before me an information that has been filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about October 11 of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class A misdemeanor offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon. Mr. Ross, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Ross, how did you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
Good.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ross, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Ross, there are a set of initials, KR. That's on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Ross, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, Mr. Ross, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are two boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
We have the discovery certificate. Mr. Ross, I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Mr. Ross, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Ross, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ross, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
We would, Judge.
Any
No
objections?
objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 is admitted. Ms. Peraza, you've advised and counseled Mr. Ross Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Ross, your attorney, Ms. Ferrazzo, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with her representation?
Yes, sir.
Has she provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ross, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in this case?
We do, Judge.
What-
The plea bargain agreement is 6-month deferred probation with the terms including a $200 fine, 40 hours of community service, and a condition that the defendant forfeit the underlying weapon
In the few minutes.
as part of his probation.
That's correct, Your Honor. Thank you.
And Judge, we have submitted an agreed motion to forfeit with evidence attached.
Okay. Mr. Ross, the state is offering that you serve 6 months deferred adjudicated probation. During the 6 month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $200 plus court costs of $307, which comes to a total of $507. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You will also be required to reimburse Jefferson County, the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. Now, your total monthly installments for this case, that is a total amount that you will be required to pay each month, is $230. Will you be able to pay the $230 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. You will be required to forfeit the weapon that's in this case, and you will also be required to adhere to the standard terms and conditions of your probation. Now, Mr. Ross, I have before me a motion to forfeit the weapon. Mr. Ross, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Ross, before you signed this document, did your attorney go over this document with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in this document?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Ross, again, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in this case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ross, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. The court is going to grant the motion to forfeit the weapon in this case, and the weapon will be forfeited to the Beaumont Police Department. Now, Mr. Ross, if you successfully complete this deferred adjudicated probation, this case will be dismissed. It would not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And if you need any information about your non-disclosure, you can talk to your attorney, Ms. Laura Perazzo. She's quite competent in those matters. And Mr. Ross, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following in those directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. And Ms. Perazzo, I think this is your last place. You'll be free to go as well, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor. You too.
Thank you. Okay, we'll be in well, let's do Mr. Kelly.
Yes,
Yes, Judge.
Can I go ahead and get your right thumbprint on that blue right located in front of you?
Court is in session in cause number 330834. Case is styled State of Texas versus Michael Carey McLeod. Mr. McLeod, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. McLeod?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. McLeod. You're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Tom Kelly. Attorney Kelly, how are you doing?
Just fine, Judge. Thank you.
Attorney Kelly, what is your announcement in Mr. McLeod's case?
Judge, the two cases here, I think if you leave us on this announcement docket, we may be able to get to a resolution next time if you'd give us maybe 45 days.
Okay,
Just 1 second, Joe.
okay.
Almost 5:23.
Sounds great.
Okay, the case is being reset till May 23rd of 2022. Mr. McLeod, your attorney is going to sign for your reset. Once he signs for your reset and give you your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Stand over there and sign for his reset.
I Which cause number is that?
It's 330970.
What does he want? The 330970 discovery. certificate. There's this one attached. Do you need that other one?
No, that's fine. I just need to make sure there was one.
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Judge,
Hold on a minute.
Mr. Kelly's other case.
Okay, our next case is cause number 325626. Case is styled State of Texas versus Melissa Lynn Alameda.
Yes, sir.
Miss Melissa Lynn Alameda is appearing via Zoom. Miss Alameda, you can take your mic off of mute. Miss Alameda, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Your Honor. How are you?
Okay, you must not have your mic on if we can't hear you, but we can see you.
It's on.
I still think we still have the same problem.
It should be easy. I'm
Yeah, I
speaking
don't-
for.
I don't know that it matters, Judge.
Right.
We just filed the dismissal in the case.
Oh, you did?
So
Well,
all
we
we
can
need is
tell.
for you to sign.
Miss Alameda, the district attorney's office has just dismissed your case. And so your attorney who's in court, Mr. Tom Kelly, is going to get a copy of your dismissal. Stay in contact with your attorney. This will conclude your case. You'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
You too.
I can't hear you, but I understand that.
Yeah.
since the warrant is still active.
Right.
It'll take a minute for it to process in the system, just in case anything.
On the
happens.
trespass?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The court is in session in 3 cases. First case is cause number 326760. Second case is cause number 326762. And the third case is cause number 327610. All 3 cases are styled the state of Texas versus Andre Paul Lede. Mr. Lede, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lede, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Lede, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lede, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Lede?
Doing well.
That's good. Mr. Lede, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about January 4th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of evading arrest, detention. Mr. Lede, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Lede, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, and no contest?
Guilty.
And are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
And just for the record, that cause number that you pleaded guilty to is cause number 326760. Mr. Lede, also in the same case, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Mr. Lede, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Lede, there are a set of, he was supposed to put his initials on this line too, where his initials go there.
Oh, okay. And Judge, just for the record, he has to enter no contest.
Oh, okay, so we gotta go back over that then.
Yeah, and just you put the plea of no contest here, so that's what you want to have for the judge.
Okay, now, Mr. Lede, let me go back over State's Exhibit number 1, which is the misdemeanor plea admonishment. On page 2, now, well, let me do this here. Let me go back to the information that has been filed by the District Attorney's Office. In cause number 326760, State has filed an information that alleges that on or about January 4th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class A misdemeanor offense of evading arrest, detention. Mr. Lede, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, how do you plead? Not guilty, guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lede, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Lede, there are 2 sets of initials on this document. The first set of initials is on a line that's next to a box that's checked nolla contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
The next set of initials is on a line next to a statement that reads, I do not request discovery of the evidence. I waive my right to request discovery in this case and choose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest. And Mr. Lede, are these your initials on this line?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, Mr. Lede, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Lede, I also have before me two documents. The next two documents, the first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendant Without an Attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials on the line stating that you want to waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled Waiver of Counsel for purposes of entering a plea of guilty or guilty plea or proceeding to trial. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Leday, prior to signing all of these documents that I have just mentioned to you, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
Correct.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Leday, state, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. You have States 2, and you like to offer States 1 and 2. You
It's a
entered a plea
waiver,
of no
Judge, so
contest.
there's no two. Is that the discovery certification?
No. He entered a plea of no contest. So
Yes,
he's
we did. I have the two. Yes, we would like to offer 1 and 2, Judge.
okay. Now, Mr. Leday, the state is offering States Exhibits 1 and 2 to be used as evidence against you in your case. States Exhibit number 1 is the misdemeanor plea admonishments. This is the document that have your initials in 2 spots on page 2 and your signature on page 3. Now, the probable cause affidavit is State's Exhibit number 2. The probable cause affidavit is the police report. The state would like to use these documents as evidence against you in your case. Is it all right for the state to use these documents as evidence in this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no objections. State's Exhibits number 1 and 2 are admitted. Now, Mr. Leday, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Leday, are you mentally, or is there any evidence that you are mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Leday, the court will accept your plea of no contest. The court will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. The court will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And the state will find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State,
You
do,
said the state-
Hmm?
you said the state will find that there is sufficient evidence, not the court.
okay.
Yeah, you said the state.
Okay, the court will find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
We do, Judge.
What is that agreement?
In cause number 326760, the evading arrest, we are agreeing to 2 days in jail with credit for 2 days, time served, and to tax and retire or waive the court costs. And also, as a condition of Mr. Leday's plea in that cause number, the state has agreed to dismiss the resisting cause number 326762 and the trespassing charge cause number 327610.
Okay. Mr. Leday, the state is offering that you serve 2 days in the Jefferson County Jail, but you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you've already served 2 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $287. The court cost is going to be taxed and retired in this case as well. If there any excess, I think $87, that will be waived. Now, Mr. Leday, the state will also be dismissing cause numbers 326 cause number 3266762 and cause number 327610. Mr. Leday, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer? You do? Okay, Mr. Leday, I'll follow the plea bargain agreements that you have entered into with the state. Mrs. Leday, this will conclude your case. And you're gonna stand on the X next to your left. Now, Mr. Leday, your other two cases are going to be dismissed. And just for the record, Mr. Leday, the court would like to commend you on you taking charge of your the drug problem that you had. You took an initiative to go into treatment. I think, did you start off with ATAR?
No, sir. I went straight to Texas House. And it's a very strict program. I told him about that one. Yeah, it's like, honestly, if you want it, you gonna stay there. You know what I mean? But if you don't, you're not gonna stay there. It's like worse than say peaches ain't got bars around.
Right, right,
It's well worth it though.
right.
I mean, if you really want it. So, I mean, I got a lot of, I actually mentor the people now. So, so it brought me along. You ain't gotta worry about me in these courtrooms.
Okay, well, Mr. Leday, we'd like to commend you for, first of all, taking the initiative to do something about the problem that you have. The first step to recovery is to first admit that you have a problem. And then once you admit that you have a problem, the next step is to do something about that problem. And I tell people this all the time, the road to recovery is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so if you know the difference between a sprint and a marathon, a sprint is a short race, a marathon is a long race. So this is a journey, race that you're gonna be on the rest of your life, but I can assure you that in every marathon, you may get tired along the way. But if you get tired along the way, you have a support system. You have family members, you have people who has helped you in the recovery program. And so if you ever get weak along the way, lean on your support system and they'll be there for you, okay? So again, we'd like to commend you for taking charge and we would like to encourage you to stay on the road, okay? Stay on the road because, I don't know if you remember one time you were on the video and first, when I saw you in the video, I said, well, you look different. You look a lot. You look, yeah, you looked a whole lot different from last time and you look good now.
Thank you so much.
So put it like this here, recovery looks good on you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just keep up the good work and, just continue to stick to that plan. You said you're a mentor now.
Yes, sir.
You can make other people stronger.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and again, we'd like to commend you for taking that step.
Thank you so much.
All right, you're gonna stand on the X, she's gonna follow the clerk, she'll tell you what to do. Once you finish there, you'll be free to go. Now, I'm signing those two dismissals, so you're gonna get these two dismissals on these other two cases before you leave. Okay, you're welcome.
Can I go ahead and get your right thumbprint on that blue light?
Hold on a minute.
Thank you. You can remove your thumb. And just hang tight. We're gonna print your dismissals out for you and then.
They're coming off. Yeah, they're gonna come off right now as soon as that's one of them.
And this is copy of the commitment for your records. You'll just hold on to this.
Right, that's me.
Yes, sir. That's just for your records. You don't need to do anything with it. And I believe you have another dismissal that'll print out here in a minute.
That's good.
That's the other one. And you have support here with you today, huh?
Yes, sir, my mom, yeah.
Okay.
My mom.
Oh, thanks for coming down with your son. That's good.
That's
Stay.
the only thing I'm come down for is my kids.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you done with this?
I don't know where you're gonna get it from. Yeah, we're gonna have
Is he
to.
high? Or-
I don't know. Could we check?
Give me the class number. 326-234. Did you do a court order rescinding?
He was hired?
No.
Oh, he wasn't? Okay. So we're gonna rescind and gonna appoint. The next person on the list is Don Boudreaux. What's that? That's Brandon Robeson. Mr. Robeson, this is cause number 326-234. You can get your stand on the 4X. You're gonna be appointed a new attorney because your attorney, Mr. Freeman, is no longer practicing private practice. Okay. That's what's his name? Don Boudreaux. Hmm?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was talking to myself.
Tom Boudreaux, yeah.
Don Boudreaux was appointed. Back on. Okay, the court is in session and cause number 328605. The case is style of state of Texas versus Dante Kavan Williams. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Williams, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, how are you doing? You all right?
Yes, sir. Dr. Simmons.
Oh, I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Now, Mr. Williams, you are represented in this case by attorney Marsha Norman, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, District Attorney, Mr. Sonny Eckhor and Attorney Blake Ham stated that that your attorney, Ms. Marsha Norman, appeared in their office this morning and left them with a motion to forfeit.
Yes, sir.
Showing this motion.
For the record, we are showing Mr. Williams a motion to forfeit.
Do you recognize that motion?
Yes, sir.
Now, is that your signature on the line that says defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, prior to signing that motion, did your attorney go over that motion with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in that motion?
Yes, sir.
Is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir, it is.
And you want the court to grant the motion to forfeit
Yes, sir.
the weapon in this case to the Beaumont Police Department, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this motion will be granted. Okay. And State, you have another motion?
We do, Judge.
And what is that motion?
In light of the court granting the agreed motion to forfeit, we submitted a motion to dismiss.
Okay. Mr. Williams? Oh, wrong one. Mr. Williams, I'm pulling up that motion to dismiss that the state has filed.
Yes, sir.
And defender forfeited the weapon. I'm signing the motion. Now, Mr. Williams, cause number 328605 has been dismissed. You can get a copy of the dismissal from our court clerk. You're gonna stand on the X to your left. And then when the dismissal print off, you'll get a copy of the dismissal. Once you get a copy of the dismissal, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, the court is in session and cause number 330532. Case of style of state of Texas versus Edgar Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez is that your full name? See if we got some bond conditions.
Doesn't speak English, Your Honor.
Oh. Mr. Rojas, would you please raise your right hand, Mr. Rojas? Do you swear to interpret English to Spanish and Spanish to English, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, you may put your hand down. Ask Mr. Hernandez to raise his right hand. Mr. Hernandez, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
Okay, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Hernandez?
good.
Good. Now, Mr. Hernandez, this court, like all courts, have a dress code. And part of the code is you can't wear shorts. However, the court is going to allow you to come in this time, but make sure that you're properly dressed when you come back to the court. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Rojas, how are you doing?
Doing well, Judge.
Mr. Rojas, what is your announcement in Mr. Hernandez's case?
Judge, I'm asking for another announcement docket. Mr. Hernandez is charged with family assault. My understanding is that the complaining witness tried to sign a non-prosecution affidavit, but there was no one available at the DA's office to translate.
Did he have
Yeah, he does, but they're not printing.
oh, I don't need it for anything.
But there was no one available to translate, so I think we get another announcement date. She'll be able to go sign a non-prosecution and hopefully I don't know if it will, but hopefully the DA will be able to make a decision.
How much time do you need?
30 days ought to be fine.
What's that date? 30-day reset? May 4th? Okay, Mr. Hernandez, your case will be reset to May 4th, 2022 at 9 a.m. Stay in contact with your attorney. Your attorney is going to give you a reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Mr. Rojas, you'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Judge. You as well.
All right. Mr. Porter, would you please get Mr. McIntosh cases? It's Michael Resendez and Lee Smith.
No.
I was looking for it. Yeah, I was like. I didn't check now, but I was like.
Court is in session and cause number 329306. The case is styled of State of Texas versus Michael Anthony Resendez. Mr. Resendez is present in court. Mr. Resendez, how are you doing? Okay. Now, Mr. Resendez, you're represented in this case by your attorney Charles McIntosh, who is appearing via Zoom. Mr. McIntosh, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Judge. Thank you.
Oh, we're having the same problem. Yeah, but I wonder. No, he's speaking because it was yellow, but we can't hear him. Is there something wrong with our system?
Can you not hear me, Judge?
If they can hear you, it's nothing wrong with our system.
But it happened to, okay, hold on a minute.
Can you hear me, Judge?
Mr. McIntosh, are you calling in on the court phone
Or Zoom.
or Zoom?
There's the answer. Mr. McIntosh,
Hey, I heard Judge couldn't hear me, so I figured I'd call in instead.
gotcha.
Okay,
You're on speaker.
let's see. Mr. McIntosh, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Judge. Sorry, I don't know why you couldn't hear me on Zoom.
Yeah, I don't know either. Mr. McIntosh, what is your announcement in Mr. Resendez's case?
Judge, I've been speaking with the district attorney's office, but I believe one more announcement docket would allow us to potentially resolve this case.
How much time do you need?
Cases in your court on April 20th.
April 20th?
Be reset to that day.
Okay,
Both of your clients.
okay. Stand over here.
Well, Mr. Smith has
Hello.
a felony, and I don't know if there's been a
Stand right
resolution
there.
to that case or not.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
check on that one.
Lee Smith, would you come forward? This is cause number 330610. Case is filed in the state of Texas versus Lee Smith. Mr. Smith, you have a felony case?
With this one, just for you, sir.
I wonder why it's not on the docket. So you have a felony case, you said?
It's, I mean, I went to jail for it, but as far as them picking it back up, they,
May not have been filed. Yeah, why don't you do that? Just hold on a minute.
What was the offense?
unauthorized use.
It was,
It was refused.
felony.
Okay, that case was refused.
Unauthorized use of a motor vehicle? Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you hear him talk? It's refused.
It was refused.
yes.
What does that mean?
Thank you, sir.
The state didn't accept the case.
I'm sorry. How you?
Okay, so you want this case set on the same date? April 20th?
Yes, Judge, please.
Okay, this case is gonna be reset on April 20th of 2022. You can get your reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Mr. McIntosh,
Yes, ma'am.
would you docket your calendar? For some reason, I cannot fax anything to you.
You can't what?
I can't fax anything to you.
Oh, okay. But April 20th for both of them?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
If I'm not mistaken, it looks like that's all the cases that we've had on, that we have on the docket today. Is that correct? No bond forfeitures?
Yes.
Okay, well, this will conclude the calling of the announcement docket, which was scheduled at 9 a.m. on today's date of March 30th, 2022 in County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas.
Thank you, sir.
Judge Terrence Holmes, Terrence